Hi all, welcome to another unedited thoughts. Tonight I wanted to discuss video game demos, their death, and possibly their resurgence. I want to start this by saying why it's so important. Demos are a way for people to just be able to play a game, and is probably the best marketing strategy I can think of. Just play a bit and see how you like it. Genuinely, for someone without much money, this is the best way to get them hooked on a game and possibly even buy it if they can. And even if they can't, they can at least experience it for a little bit. The reason I say this is because I've been there. Just through personal experience, I have gone into many franchises that I love through demos or demo-adjacent features. Example, Journey. I would have never played that game when it came out, but it was a free demo on the PSN store, so I got it as a kid. And then I bought the video game. Jet Set Radio. That is a series I am infatuated with. A series I loved so much that I even bought roller skates because of it. I'm not good, but point still stands, it's a series that I hold very dear, and I would have never gotten into that if it weren't for the free demo that you can get for it. Again, on the PSN store. But I've realized as of late, demos have been dying, and it does make sense why that is, because the games industry has adopted a new model that is somewhat similar to demos, and that is free-to-play content. Now, free-to-play games are not necessarily bad. Just as an example, the original free-to-play game that started this entire trend is Team Fortress 2, and of course I'm fine with that. Team Fortress 2 is a game I have over 3,000 hours in. It makes sense in that case, and it's just what Valve does. It starts trends and then just kind of leaves. With that being said, though, the main issues you're starting to see with TF2 are being seen throughout the entire industry. 1. Neglect that destroys a video game long after its life. 2. The overbloat of cosmetic items that you pay for, which are the main moneymaker. Those get overbloated because you want to make more money. And obviously with TF2 there's its own special case where Valve just kind of left for milk and then suddenly started putting in yearly October and December cosmetics from the community, so yeah. But that's not in isolation. Any other company is going to be pushing as many cosmetics as they possibly can, to the point where you feel like you're being sold to, more so than if you are just playing a demo. Which is insane, because the entire point of a demo is to stop you halfway through and say, hey, buy the game for more. And that is less intrusive than just playing the game normally, but getting cosmetics. With that being said, I am not against the free-to-play model. In fact, I think it is better than the demo model for most online games. Genuinely, I can't remember, but I do know that there were some games in the PS3 and Xbox 360 era where you could buy a demo for an online-only game, and it would lock you after a couple hours of playing or something like that. That's stupid. Especially with the free-to-play model being made, that's stupid, and I'm glad that it never took off. So yes, the free-to-play model is right for, online games. But when you have a single-player story experience, or even a game that has both story and online, like original CODs do, I don't think they do anymore, because they're lazy and stupid, but yeah, when you have a game that it has story content, obviously you can't just make it free to play. That makes no sense. You're gonna buy cosmetics? To show off to who? The NPCs that can't think? But that's slowly been dying, and I don't really know why. Even for single player games, demos haven't been a thing. And I think maybe that's because single player experiences themselves have just been kind of dying out of the games industry. Mostly because free to play content, and even, God forbid, there are. The trend has gone so far to the point now that there are games that you pay for and then ask for further microtransactions, despite the fact that the entire point of the free-to-play model is to be able to have a demo-like experience for online games. That is disgusting. And I'm not talking about DLCs. Or just like little bits of extra content. No, just like legitimately you are paying like £2 for one little hat in a full-priced game. That or loot boxes, especially loot boxes. I understand that in free-to-play games, but pay-to-play games, really? But whatever. I'm not going to get into the scumminess of the current video games industry that much because that's not the main focus. And also, that's been done to death by other people who are more versed in these subjects than me. But, alas, I don't know why we stopped doing it for story games and single-player experiences. My thesis already is just going to be, if you have an online multiplayer game, it's fine to make it paid. Just make sure that you don't have egregious microtransactions. So if you want the demo-like experience, make it a free-to-play game with those microtransactions. That makes sense. And for single-player content, don't have a free-to-play game. I don't think anyone's doing that. But also, just have a demo. I haven't really put in the case for why demos are so good outside of a bit of my personal experience, so I'm going to add more. One, the people are able to actually play the game. As someone who doesn't really play any new games, I live under a rock, for better or for worse, and the only new games that I keep up with are from my hyperfixations, being Atlas or Valve games. So it's really hard for me to find a new game that I get really into just out of the blue. So when you're marketing to someone like me, who doesn't really care about how popular the next Souls-like game is, I don't care. I've never played the game series, and I might if I'm interested, but you have to actually let me play the game to understand. So when you have something like that, and games are such a special medium because it depends on the genre. Obviously, if you have a story-based game like David Cage games, you can't just expect the person to be able to play a demo and get everything. That makes sense, right? With David Cage games, you can get a lot from the trailer because these are story-based games. But for most video game experiences, the entire point is the experience of actually playing it. How it feels, how fun it is, or how interesting the dynamics are. When it's something like that, what do you think a trailer is going to do? Or even word of mouth. People are just going to say, play it, it's so good, and that's it. You don't get much from that. But if you actually play a bit of the game and realize this is why people like it, that's the best marketing strategy in my opinion. Perfect example is Borderlands 2. I heard about the game a million times. I never bought it, obviously. When it came out, when the DLCs were coming out, I never played it. I did not care. Well, mostly because I was like, what? This was 2012, so I was like a small child. But still, I would have thanked my parents for it if I actually cared. But what happened was, we had a free weekend on Steam where you could play it for free for that weekend. And as soon as that weekend ended, I instantly bought the game. And now I think the better alternative for that would be a demo, but free weekends are so important. Because, well, I mean, they're the they're what's more popular than demos for some weird reason. Where, even though I think personally demos are way better because you can hook people way after than that one exclusive thing. But I understand that, oh, this thing's exclusive, so it's gonna sell like hotcakes, which is really annoying because, again, what about everyone else who missed that? Those people might never experience something so good. But again, I enjoyed the free weekend so much that I got all the way to the Wilhelm boss fight, which is like halfway through the game. Because I really just wanted everything from that. And I didn't know if I was going to get it or not, but it was so fun. I was hooked. And I would have never played that game. I would have never played Borderlands 3, which is really good. Stop talking about the story, it's good. I would have never played any of the Borderlands games if it wasn't for the fact that I just happened to be on there for that free weekend. Exact same thing applies to Payday 2 for me. I have over 2,000 hours in that game, and that's just because it was free for a little bit in 2017. Granted, in that case, it was permanent, which is insane to think about, but still, for an online game, in this case, it would have been a much better idea to maybe just, I don't know, make it free to play with microtransactions, which it already has, and also it has like a bunch of DLC. I don't know why everyone was so surprised with the like Vault and Key decision, because let's be real here, Overkill would have done that a million times. It was not anyone else's fault. But just because of that free weekend that you were able to get it, I got over 2,000 hours in the game. I was obsessed with it. I have spent years, and that would have never have happened. I even made the mistake of buying Payday 3. I don't know if it's good or not. It's probably not, considering how terrible an Overkill is as a company. But again, that experience, though, I have memories in Payday 2 that I still hold very dear to this day. Same thing with TF2, same thing with Borderlands 2. And that would have never happened if I wasn't able to just try it a bit. It doesn't matter if it's a cultural phenomenon. People like me aren't going to play it if they aren't hooked in it already. And that's where demos exist. These companies, like I got burned with the Borderlands series because of just how terrible Gearbox's other games are. Like, before Borderlands 2, all I knew them for were the Half-Life expansions, which I loved, but like you could tell they were very immature. And then I played Payday 2, and I got burned from Payday 3 because Overkill is a shit company. But these companies got me hooked, despite how shit they are, because you were able to play their games and try them out for free. That brings me to the biggest example of why this is a thing that needs to be done. Metaphori Fantasia. I'm gonna be honest, yes, I was probably gonna get the game at some point if it wasn't a demo. Because, again, this is part of my 2 massive hyperfixations, so of course I'm gonna get it. But I probably wouldn't have bought it the moment I finished the demo if it weren't for that demo being a thing. I'm not sure where I heard this, but Metaphor got sold insanely well. Do you think the demo was just a coincidence? Do you think people weren't hooked on that game and absolutely loved it if it weren't for the demo? And it was insane how long the demo is, too. But also, you have to realize, a demo can realistically be like half of an entire game and still sell because people want to finish it. I don't really prescribe to the idea that, an hour of someone playing the free demo is an hour taken away from someone buying it. Because that's ridiculous. If someone makes it that far, they are going to buy it. The likelihood of someone buying it increases to like fucking 90%. I'm pulling this out of my ass, but you have to realize that this is how people engage with media. If they go really far into something, they will buy it. And even if they don't, you have to realize someone going that far into a game for free makes them absolutely have respect for the people making it and wanting it. That's the main reason why demos are so important. I highly doubt Metaphor with Fantasio was going to be touted as the third pillar of Mega 10. Well, at least seriously, we're not going to be talking about how they did that for Soul Hackers 2 for some weird reason. Well, just sold as much as it did if it wasn't for the fact of the demo. This is something that really needs to come back for single player experiences. Demos have to come back. And honestly, if you are a game developer, which I hopefully at some point will be able to call myself, at least not a game developer, but just someone involved in the creation of video games, because that's my passion. If you are one of those people, seriously consider trying to bundle a demo into your game. I can guarantee you, if people listen and play it, that demo is going to do a lot more good than harm. Honestly, I don't think it can do any harm. But again, those are my unedited opinions on the demo situation in video games. Before I go, I have a little bit of a thing for subscribers, if you don't mind. If you don't care, it's fine. You know? But for subscribers, I mostly just want to talk about where I've been. It's been like a month, and I'm kind of just gone AWOL. Well, two things to that. One, depression. Yeah, I'm really struggling with making the next video. It's over 20 minutes already, so that's fun. But it's hard to be interested in writing something when you are barely able to function as a human being. And secondly, I've just kind of been busy job searching and stuff like that. But obviously, I'm still trying to work on this video. It's just it's hard to get the attention to be able to finish it. Because I'm in the script writing section, and for me, writing the script is the hardest part of a video, because editing I find really fun. I love editing and pushing myself to make more and interesting visuals. I love editing. But when it comes to writing a script, I could barely read because I just don't have the attention to finish a page. It's so hard for me to focus for that long. And to write for what is essentially like, 2 or 3 chapters in a book, it's a difficulty for me. I wish it wasn't, because it seems like I'm such a baby, but sadly that's just how I am. But I am still working on it, and I'm, if anything, for this promise, I will get this video out by this year. If not, you can make fun of me on the internet. You can do that anyway, but you get what I mean. Yeah, so that's where I've been. Sorry for that, by the way, but I hope you at least enjoyed this video. And before you go, you will be met by 2 options. On the left, a video algorithmically designed for you to enjoy. And on the right, my most recent endeavor. Now, the only question I have is, which will you choose?